I'm staying currently in Halifax, and I'm a student in Dalhousie. I grew up in a small town in Malaysia called Ipoh. Throughout my childhood, I've been experiencing something really, really bad, and it has caused really a negative effect on me right now, because like I've become a bit paranoid, like wherever I go.
Some people believe the supernatural world is everywhere. They say children are particularly sensitive to its powers and to its dangers as well. If so, who is to protect them from ghosts and spirits? Hi, I'm Lawrence Chow. Today on Ghostly Encounters, we meet Palini and Kim. They both have stories about children and the ghosts that haunted them. Palini says when she was a young girl, her father discovered a package on their doorstep. It wasn't a gift, but a curse. And from then on, Palini's life was never the same.
What I'm about to describe is something called Sevene. It's in a term, it's something like black magic. Only thing it's in Tamil term. And it's something where other people do it on you, like they do black magic on you. And mine was done by actually a far relative. And it actually started when I was 7 years old. Everything started when one morning my dad actually found like a rotten egg and lime lying in front of our house. Well, for us Hindus, we believe that rotten eggs and limes are a symbol of black magic and evil. Lime is actually a type of fruit that is used for both in prayers and for good and evil. A rotten egg especially symbolizes that something bad has entered the house. The curse was by introducing the spirit into the house and making the spirit do things to our family to produce chaos within the family. I was actually there that morning and I saw the lime and the egg. My mom was actually kind of scared. She was like, don't touch that stuff. And I also still remember very clearly like my dad saying, no, there's no such thing. He took it, he threw it away, and he just washed our main porch, just leaving it like that. And actually that's when everything started. I grew up learning that there is such a thing as ghosts. I felt uncomfortable in my own house. I just felt the whole house was not right. It became more like a prison than a house because the environment was really hostile at home. I also can like feel something is always following me, like I can feel like a ball of heat behind me. And there was this once that I was walking up the stairs and I actually heard footsteps behind me. And I turned to see like there was nobody there. But it stopped whenever I stopped. And I started walking and I could hear, it was really clear, it was walking with me. And it was definitely not my own footsteps, like I could differentiate that. When you have somebody behind you, you know somebody is there. And I had that feeling, but the fact was there was nobody there. And that really spoke to me. Like things would go worse from there. Like it didn't stop. Things would go worse from there. Like it didn't stop. I couldn't sleep at night because I was so scared. That's because at nights I feel there's somebody always looking at me, watching me. The first time I ever saw, I remember I was sleeping and I opened my eyes and I could see a very distinctive figure of a human being. It was a woman. She was pale with long hair, dark skin, and it was standing right at the top of the stairs. Like it couldn't come inside of the room. And it was just looking at me. That was when I woke my mom up and I told her somebody's standing over there. I pointed out at her. But she just didn't want to scare me, so she asked me to like go back to sleep. This is why I couldn't sleep at night. It was like I was on guard. And that was one of the reasons why my mom never let me sleep alone, because she realized there was something wrong in the house. By that time, we already knew there was something wrong with the house, but we just didn't know what to do. And that's when my mom saw how terrified I was, and she was like, that's it, I am taking you to the temple and we are doing something about this. Because she just couldn't see me in that state anymore. My parents were so worried. And when we went inside the temple, we told that we wanted the bracelet. The bracelet is for protection. We believe that when you have the bracelet around your arms, nothing evil can come near you, nothing evil can possess you, and nothing evil can harm you. It's blessed by a God. So it's like carrying the blessing of your God everywhere you go. My mom, she just tied it around my wrist. And that was the experience that I'll never ever forget in my life. I literally felt something pulling itself out of me. I just felt like an energy pulling itself. I jerked backwards because it was so strong. At that moment itself, I felt free. I felt like I could take a deep breath, you know? And I really felt good knowing something came out of me. I felt like it's all over. It's all done for it. Like, you know, I'm out of it. I can live my life right now. I feel the bracelet is protecting me up to today. And if this comes out, I'll definitely go and change it. The house got purified. We brought in people to cleanse the whole house according to our religion. But things also changed family-wise. Like, we were really open after that. We became closer to each other. We understood each other more than we used to before. I guess we became close-knit family, a better understanding family after that.
Our experts tell us that physical objects are usually used to put a curse on someone. Palini believes the spirit that terrorized her was created by a curse. Kim Lapierre, on the other hand, doesn't know anything about curses. But she does know that when she moved into her home, something just as terrifying as Palini's spirit was waiting for her.
I'm a mom of two girls, 12 and 9, both born here in Halifax. My husband, we moved here for his company, and we've stayed here ever since. I think that Halifax has a reputation for having ghostly events, and I think because of the Halifax explosion and the Titanic that things happen here that don't happen other places. My house isn't very old. It's maybe 25, 24 years old. But I think from day one when we moved in, we kind of had a sense that there was something about the house. I do get the feeling that something's watching me. I get it a lot, on a daily basis. That happens more often than anything else. It's that feeling, that sense that you can feel somebody's in the room, even though you might be the only person in the room. You feel like there's somebody else there. And that's how my daughter feels too, my youngest daughter. She feels like that all the time. She says that she feels someone looking at her from her closet in her room. I think that she picks up more than anyone else does because of her age. My husband's cousin and I were sitting in the living room when all of a sudden we heard directly above our head these footsteps walk from one corner of bedroom to the other. And in order for those footsteps to take that path, they would have had to walk directly through her bed. We have a creaky floor, so you just heard the creaking of the floor as the footsteps were taken. So we just stopped and we looked up and we were staring at the ceiling. And then we look at each other and she says, "I'm not going up there." And I said, "Well, I have to go up there because Riley's up there asleep." So I went upstairs and I checked on my daughter. She was in bed, sound asleep. And I looked in the room and there was nobody there. Not that there could have been anybody there, because nobody could walk through the bed the way the footsteps had taken. There was no possible way somebody could have walked across that room. I was worried when I heard the footsteps, but because my daughter was upstairs, I had to go check it out. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone upstairs. I've never disbelieved. I just had no reason to believe. I'd never had any real life experiences with ghosts. So once that happened, I was a true believer. It was my daughter's birthday. My husband and I gave her 2 helium-filled balloons. And the next morning, the happy face balloon was floating directly in front of her room. There was absolutely no way physically possible that that balloon floated there on its own. It was my daughter's birthday. My husband and I gave her 2 helium-filled balloons, cellophane balloons. One was a happy face, and I really can't tell you what the other one was because it doesn't stick in my mind like that happy face balloon does. We were playing with her balloons, and they had ribbons hanging from them, and she was running around playing them, letting them go, watching them go back up to the ceiling. And when it was time to go to bed, she wanted to take the balloons upstairs with her. But because of the ribbons, I said, "No, you can't." So she threw a little hissy fit, and I ended up carrying her over my shoulder up to bed the whole time, listening to her scream out for her balloons, that she wanted her balloons. When I put her to bed, she didn't go to bed right away. She had to whimper, "I want my balloons." Finally, she fell asleep, and I went to bed shortly after that. And the next morning I woke up, and her room is directly in front of my door, and I looked out, and the happy face balloon was floating midway between ceiling and floor directly in front of her room. And what shocked me and scared me the most is the journey that that balloon would have had to take. There was absolutely no way physically possible that that balloon floated there on its own. I went out and I grabbed it by its ribbons and gave it a tug, and I released it, and it went directly up to the ceiling where it stuck. I don't know how it got there. I just know I didn't take it there. My husband was out of town, and my daughter was in her room behind her baby gate, so she didn't get it. I think the fact that the balloon was a smiley face made it even creepier to me, just because it was smiling. It was as if it was smiling at me. I didn't know what to think. It was one of the scariest things that happened to me. After that, little things would happen. You'd get feelings, senses. You know how you can sense there's somebody in a room even though you don't turn and see them there? We just get feelings. Nothing was ever really concrete until I was sound asleep in bed. It was, I don't know what time in the morning, but it was the middle of the night. And I just woke up. And I don't know why I woke up. I was kind of wondering, you know, what could have woken me. I was listening for my kids to hear if maybe one of them had called out to me. And when I looked out, I saw this rocking chair that we had, and it was rocking. And I didn't really jump to any conclusions. I just figured, well, the cat probably jumped down off the window onto the rocking chair, and that's why it was rocking. So I rolled over to go back to bed, and it was then that I realized that the cat was sound asleep right between my feet at the end of the bed. So then I realized, well, the cat couldn't have jumped down, and I looked back out, and that's when I saw what I saw for the first time in my life was this ghostly apparition of a woman. And she was just rocking back and forth. She didn't have any expression. She was just deadpan. She was just looking at me. I was really scared when I was watching her. I don't know how much time passed. But then she rose out of her chair. And went directly over my left shoulder through my wall into my neighbor's house. I was frozen in my bed the entire time, and probably for a little time after that. I don't know. I really have no concept of how much time had passed because I wasn't looking at the clock, but it seemed like it lasted so long. 2 months after I saw the woman, my daughter had come into our room. She was sleeping between us. I woke up the next morning and found her squished all the way down underneath the comforter so that she was like in the middle of the bed. So I kind of pulled the covers back and I asked her what she was doing down there, and she burst into tears. She was so scared. She says, "Mommy," she said, "I was scared." I said, "Well, what were you scared of? You're sleeping with us." And she said, "I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw a lady walk through Daddy's dresser." We talked about what she'd seen, and she described exactly the same thing that I had seen. As a mom, it bothers me a lot, but I know that nothing's bad is going to happen to her. Nothing bad has happened in the house. I said to her, I said, everything that happens has been helpful. You know, nobody's trying to scare you. I did have a word with the ghost because I've heard that if you ask them not to show themselves, they won't. She hasn't visibly seen the woman ever since then. There hasn't been another occurrence of that, but she senses things all the time. And you can tell because she gets nervous. She'll get a little antsy. It worries me that she's so scared, so I'm trying to psychologically alleviate it. So I took her downtown 2 weekends ago and I bought her a necklace. I said that it would protect her from the spirits, just to give her a little peace of mind when she was in the house. And she's been wearing it ever since. I think it actually has helped her because although she still won't go anywhere in the house alone, she's not as nervous as she used to be. She's getting to be a little bit more independent. I think the necklace is giving her peace of mind.
Our experts tell us that amulets, objects worn on the body to protect against misfortune and evil, have been used throughout history. Both Palini's bracelet and Kim's necklace are amulets, but there the similarity ends, for Palini's bracelet has religious power, while Kim's necklace comes from a local store. In Eastern cultures, the psychological dimension is part of the spiritual. In the West, psychology and religion have been separated. So Kim did not draw upon a religious tradition, but found a simple object and told her daughter that it would protect her. The effect was positive, but purely psychological. Whatever the source of an amulet's power, from a mother's perspective, it really doesn't matter, as long as it works and her daughter is happy and safe.
Everything stopped as soon as I had this on, and I felt really, really good. And family-wise, like we've become closer, especially if we feel something is wrong. I can openly speak to my parents about this because I know, after we've been through that, they would understand.
I try to protect her. I try to make her feel at ease. It's been a very long journey with her because Sometimes it's trying, like, you know, that she's afraid. So now that she's starting to not be so afraid, it is a big relief, because we were getting concerned that she was never going to get over what she had seen.
Become a bit paranoid, like wherever I go.
Some people believe the supernatural world is everywhere. They say children are particularly sensitive to its powers and to its dangers as well. If so, who is to protect them from ghosts and spirits? Hi, I'm Lawrence Chow. Today on Ghostly Encounters, we meet Palini and Kim. They both have stories about children and the ghosts that haunted them. Palini says when she was a young girl,
I'm staying currently in Halifax, and I'm a student in Dalhousie. I grew up in a small town in Malaysia called Ipoh. Throughout my childhood, I've been experiencing something really, really bad, and it has caused really a negative effect on me right now, because like
her father discovered a package on their doorstep. It wasn't a gift, but a curse. And from then on, Palini's life was never the same.
What I'm about to describe is something called Sevene. It's in a term, it's something like black magic. Only thing it's in Tamil term. And it's something where other people do it on you, like they do black magic on you. And mine was done by actually a far relative. And it actually started when I was 7 years old. Everything started when one morning my dad actually found like a rotten egg and lime lying in front of our house. Well, for us Hindus, we believe that rotten eggs and limes are a symbol of black magic and evil. Lime is actually a type of fruit that is used for both in prayers and for good and evil. A rotten egg especially symbolizes that something bad has entered the house. The curse was by introducing the spirit into the house and making the spirit do things to our family to produce chaos within the family. I was actually there that morning and I saw the lime and the egg. My mom was actually kind of scared. She was like,